Guys, we have arrived at the best time of the year. It is planner setup time. I am so excited. I love setting up my planner.
Oh, I love it.
And I know that I'm not the only one. So this video is all about setting up your 2024 Sprouted planner. If you're working through a different planner, then that's okay. I'm going to be doing this setup in two big sections. The first are the prep pages. So the prep pages are going to be very specific to Sprouted Planner, but you can still take big concept ideas like your values and intentions and planning for the year ahead, things like that for whatever planner you're working in. But this is really going to be the best video if you have a Sprouted planner. And the second part is your calendar and dates. It's putting in the birthdays, anniversaries, whatever you have pre-planned, all of that can be universal for any planner. But everything is going to be shown in the 2024 Sprouted planner, whether you are in a daily, a weekly, or an hourly one. And then for my monthly users, you won't have the prep pages, but you do have the calendar and you can fill that out as well. So the majority of this video is going to be with the camera down on the planner and walking through it. But I just wanted to say hi and tell you what to expect, how to get set up, and then we'll go from there. So let's talk about timing. When is the right time to set up your planner? And really, there is not a right time. There are people that are setting up their new planner in August, but I think the majority are doing it in November and December, so right around this time. Personally, I like to do it the last week of December. I like doing my yearly reflection then, and then setting everything up then, because it just feels like so fresh and new and is like right around the corner. So that's when I do it. But whenever you really have the time and inspiration to do it. So I think you'll really want to set aside, I would say 1 to 2 hours. And really, if you're going to be adding a reflection component in there, I would maybe even possibly do 3. But that is so personal. I always take way longer to do everything. So I'm definitely going to need that bigger chunk of time. But if you are like a bing bang boom person,
Bing boom boom, you're fired, Ed.
then maybe you can do it faster. But I would definitely set aside at least 2 hours to give yourself some time. Then you want to set the mood right. So you want to find a place and a spot that is inspiring, that's kind of creative, feeling inducing, but you want to be comfortable as well. So the last couple of years, I've actually done this in my favorite coffee shop, and that's worked really well. I just put in my headphones, and the environment is already kind of creative and productive and cozy. Like, I don't know, I just like that vibe. So I may do that this year. Otherwise, since I've gotten my office done, I love being in my office too. So I will have a cozy spot, can light a candle, put on music, have some blankets, some pillows. So you want your environment to be like a nice spot, because really, this might be a little far-fetched here, but this is kind of a sacred experience. I mean, you are planning your year ahead. And that's a big thing. It's very personal, it's very inspiring, it's very hopeful, and so it's just, I don't know, to me it's a big deal. And I know I'm not the only one with that sentiment either. So you want to kind of match the tone to how you're feeling and how you're planning. So set your mood right, set aside the time, get your environment right, and then we can crack into the planner. Like I said, I'm going to be talking about this in 2 sections, and I'm going to be doing it in this order. Setting up your beginning prep pages, and then filling out the rest of your planner with your dates and things you already have planned. But this can be done in either order, so they aren't exclusive of each other. So if you would rather just set up your dates and your anniversaries and your birthdays and all that stuff on your calendar first, and then go back and do the prep pages where it involves a little more thinking and contemplating and things like that, totally go for it. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to be doing it prep pages and then calendar. Okay, before we dive in, let's talk about what we need. So first, you're going to need your 2024 Sprouted planner, obviously. Next, you'll need your 2023 planner, if you have one. If you don't, if you're brand new to planning, that's totally okay. But if you do have a 2023 planner, bring it along, because you might need to reference it, or you might want to. Or you might want to do your year-end reflection of 2023 before you move into planning 2024. I did that last year, and it was a haul. It was a big, it was just a lot of time. I felt very fatigued by the end. So I'm not sure I recommend that, but you do you. Bring your favorite pen. I would say maybe even bring a pencil if you have a need to pencil some things in. Those things for sure. And then optional highlighters and anything you want to decorate if that's your thing. So if you want to bring your washies, your stickers, whatnot, go for it. If that's not your thing, you totally don't need it. You got what you need. You're in the right place. You have the time. Let's go ahead and dive right in. So here I have the 3 different kinds of sprouted planners that you can use to set up your year. So up top here, we have the weekly. Then we have the hourly. And then we have the daily, which is broken out into 2 different planners. Now, a note to say, all 3 of these, the beginning setup is going to look exactly the same in all 3 of these, with a small exception of the daily is the kind of bridging the gap page. So in the other 2 planners, it's going to be bridging the gap to 2025. So that's as you're creating future plans, or you're getting towards the end of your planner, you can come here and put your plans here until you get your new planner. But for the daily, your bridging the gap is to your next planner. So the July through December one. So you can put the plans here before you move into that planner. So that's the only difference that we have. So no matter which planner you're setting up in, just know that this applies to all of them. I'm going to be working in the weekly planner. So let's get started. So I have here highlighters. I have my favorite pen, which for the record, the Pilot G2.7, and then I have a pencil here just in case. Now this is going to be kind of a mock-up since I'm going to be doing my actual planning probably the last week of December. And that's just personal, you know. Okay, cracking it open. We'll come back to this pocket and what I put in here, but we have the highest pressure part of your whole entire planner setup. It is the belongs to line. Now, I thought I was the only one with anxiety of putting your name here and making sure it looked good, but apparently this is a thing, so I don't feel so bad. So you are gonna put your name here, and then see, and then there's all this space. Oh well. And then you are gonna you can put your phone number or your email, whatever you wanna do on this second line. Or you can do your little, like, text me at this number. So that's just if it's lost, people can get it back to you. So we have the welcome letter that you can read through, and then how to use this planner. So this really talks about how the planner was created on 4 pillars: intention, reflection, simplicity, and relationships. So it just talks about intention and reflection here as kind of these 2 big pillars, and why intention is so important. I think with planners and planner space, we talk about goals a lot, and I think goals comes after intention. So you'll see it talks about it here, and let me get more into it when we get into our values. So your values part is probably going to be your meatiest part, the most mental load that you do. So here's what I was talking about, how it all stems from your values, and then from your values, you create your intentions, and from your intentions, you create your goals. So I argue that you don't have to goal set at all in order to really live on purpose and be intentional. And if you want to add goals in there, that's great. But I'm really not a big goal person. I mean, maybe this year I will, maybe I won't. But in the past, I really haven't been a goal person. So I've really just lived out of these 2 things. Not perfectly, but I try to really be in line with these 2 things. So it talks about it here. And then in each prep page, you're gonna have what it's about, and then it says be intentional here. And then this is what you're gonna do. This is kind of the practice. So here you identify your 5 to 6 core values. Then you're gonna list them in these boxes. So your value goes in here. Next to each core value, you write your intentions for that value. And then as a third step, if you are goal setting, to write your goals flowing from those intentions. Let me just give you an example here. So I have my values from the year before, and someone had asked me, does your values change from year to year? And they might, I mean, but your core values tend to really stay the same from year to year. It might shift depending on what season of life you're in, but they seem to tend to stay the same. For sure, your intentions around those values are a much bigger shifter and changer depending on where you're at. So last year, one of my core values, relationships. I would consider, I kind of call them my people. So these are kind of, when I'm talking about relationships, I'm talking about my home team here. So that is a large value, and we get into that actually. People are on the next prep page here. That's one. I had others listed here, such as my faith, my health, meaningful work, etc. So you list your core values here. If you're having trouble identifying your core values, might I point you to something that I created. It's a free little workbook. I wouldn't even call it workbook. It's a free little guide on how to live an intentional life through planning. And the first part of it is identifying your values. So you have a list of values here that you go through, and you can look at them, you can add to them, you can get more detailed about it, and then dwindle down to your core values. And you can put them here. From there, you take those values and you put them into your intentions. Then you create systems around it. And it just kind of breaks it down further. You can grab this on the website. I will post this also in the link below. So if you need some help or just want to kind of reevaluate your values, grab this and work through it. And then you'll just be able to basically copy and paste off of there. You've identified your core values, and then you're going to write your intentions around this. So when I say I value my people, I think about intentions as my intention is to have meaningful connections with my people. Connecting and applying new knowledge with my kids. Because the year previous to that, I was doing some counseling. I was kind of like I was learning a lot of new things about myself, and kind of the things I was struggling with was what I was passing on to my kids. So I was kind of like reparenting myself. As I was getting better, I wanted to change the way that I interacted with my kids. So that's what I meant by that. So that was a big intention, was take what I was learning, connect it, and apply the new knowledge with my kids. A big focus last year also was my marriage. And I mean, that's a big focus anytime, but really working on strengthening my marriage and, you know, connecting with my kids and really having meaningful connection with my people. And I knew that meaningful connection for me meant, you know, instead of just going out and, I'm so old, I don't do this anyways, but not going out and partying or anything like that, but like really having like a heart-to-heart, finding out how people really are doing. So that's what I meant by having these meaningful connections when I got together with my people. So that is your values. Probably would do it prettier than I do. I'm on the fly here. So once you do that, we move right over into people. Speaking of people, here we go. I am an introvert, but I also love people for the most part. And so, but I got to be really careful because I only have a limited amount of time. And the season I'm in with little kids and in a marriage, all this stuff, that I really need to focus on my home team. So I kind of describe my home team here. It's like that group of people who you are closest to. They're like your ride or die. You're calling them. You know that they would drop everything to come help if you needed help, and vice versa. They're the people that really know you. You are just doing life together. So you have your people here, and your intentional step is going to be to list out your home team on the next page here. So the names go in these gray header boxes, etc., etc. I mean, I have more. I was just copying kind of off my list from last year. But so you put your people, you put your home team in these gray boxes, and then the next step is in this grid space below, realistically list out how and how often you'd like to invest your time into each person. Kind of get realistic about it. So are you hoping to kind of text every day? Are you hoping to kind of call every week? Are you hoping to get together in person once a week, once a month? Kind of what does that really look like? So in these spaces below, Aaron is my husband, and we kind of determined last year that we want to connect weekly. And this season with the little kids and his schedule, we do a date day monthly and then 2 times weekend getaway. So those are kind of big level intentions there, but you do that with each person. After your people, we move into reminders. So this is pretty big and free flowing, but let me get into it here. So you have all these beautiful blank pages of possibility, and sometimes they can be intimidating too. So here is where you can put your things, your ideas, things that you want to remember or plan ahead, but you don't want to commit to these monthly pages yet, or even to your week. So I have it set up in 2 different ways here, and you can relabel if you'd rather kind of relabel this as quarters right here and, you know, blank out whatever it is. But the intention I had with this space is to really plan projects. You can note, you know, if you want to do like season openers, or if you have chores you want to do every season. Maybe you have a bucket list. So every winter, spring, you know, every season you have a bucket list of, you know, in the fall you want to go to the pumpkin patch, and in the winter you want to see the ice castles, things like that. Or if you just want to plan your house projects around here, maybe you want to keep track of something every month. If there's maybe yearly subscriptions, I know that kind of gets lost in the shuffle until it hits your bank account and you're like, oh, that would have been good to know. So anything you kind of want to plan ahead, you want to remember. I've used this in the past. I'm going to be using it probably more for projects this year, but in the past I have used it to just kind of remember, like in January to sign up for summer camps registrations. Planning ahead, my son's birthday is in May, but in March I kind of wanted to plan for birthdays, you know, prep things, reservations I want to make. You know, I didn't use a lot of this one last year, but I noted a meteor shower I wanted to catch. So you can use this however you want. I know, so if you have things in mind you want to do right away as you're setting up your planner, then go for it. If not, if you want to come back and do this or just do it as it comes to you, that's completely up to you. This is just something you want to plan ahead or remember, be really intentional about. You can list it here. Then we move into our year list. So think of this as your yearly bucket list. It is really good to kind of list out what do you want to experience. By this time, kind of prompt yourself, by this time next year, what do you want to have done or experienced or maybe not done? You can get very concrete places you want to visit, things you want to do with a family, things you want to accomplish. This could be a goals list, however you want to do it, kind of put it here. So here I have my year list from 2023. I haven't, I've done about half of them, which is great. You know, you can just kind of brainstorm things, but so that's your list. And then it's really fun to go back and check them off when it's done. And then you are just going to a journal prompt. So what are your hopes for the year ahead? Just jot down, it doesn't have to be extensive. If you want it to be extensive, there's more pages in the back you can use, but just what are your hopes for the year ahead? So I'll show you again mine. So it's just kind of almost a bullet point list of what I hope for. And then one thing I'm going to show you here, you have a question. The beginning pages of this planner, you wrote your hopes for the year. Read it again. Did your hopes come to fruition? Write about it. So it really ties it in at the end of the year, ties it back to So this isn't a one and done, but I think it's a really helpful exercise. We reflect on the year before, we kind of plan ahead, but we also have these kind of hopes that we can't necessarily put into plans. So it's nice to just kind of get that down on paper. So here we have our kind of year at a glance here. You have your 2024 calendar and then your US holidays and observations. Definitely not comprehensive, but it's as much as I could fit on the paper. So if you have important things like National Planner Day or National Squirrel Appreciation Day, National Planner Day, August 1st. So I see people with this calendar, the calendar at a glance, you can do something like this. So you can highlight kind of school, family vacations, summer camp. Look, I didn't even finish this last year. This is a terrible example, but I know people can kind of do a visual of the year, highlight things, circle things, just get an idea of what's open, what's already taken. Or you don't have to do anything with this. So this part is new this year, and this is, I have no ideas. Well, I have ideas for you, but I have no intention for you. So this was a request by somebody, shout out to Rachel, that wanted to add it in here. So this is a great overview as well. So you can write plans in here, vacations, you can track things, you can track kind of your hormonal cycle, or maybe if you are somebody who gets headaches or migraines, or you can track doctor's visits, a bunch of different things that you can use this for. Next we have our kind of, I call it your bridge. You bridge the gap. So this is gonna be your 2025 calendar that you, in between, maybe you're planning ahead, or as you're getting towards the end of the year and you have plans, you can put it in there. So I will show you my 2024. This is what it was like in the 2023, and I think this looks better now. So I can have appointments and things. It's not extensively filled out, but just was, you know, bridging that gap between my next planner. Now I know, here's my appointments, here's my things I gotta remember, that I'm gonna put in my 2024 calendar. And then this is the 2025 year at a glance here. And then you have your dot grid, 2 pages of dot grid, and 2 line pages here. So there's so many possibilities that you can do with this. So I'm gonna put that up on the screen for you. It's just ideas that you can use this for, such as with the note grid. This would be a great place to set up a tracker. If that is your thing, then you can do a full monthly tracker here. Then same with this. So maybe you prefer dot grid over your lines. So you can use these pages for any sort of prep that you want. And then we get into the months. So that is really the first section, is setting up your prep pages. Now, this isn't something that you are just gonna do and then forget about, because every month there is a checklist, a small checklist that as you are planning out your month, it has you go through and look back on these prep pages. So you have your values, your people, your reminders, and your year list. So you go back and you look at what your intentions are for each of these categories. Well, except for reminders, or you're just looking at what your intentions are, what you mark down, and then you can go ahead and decide what you want to schedule in. So then you make it into an action. So it's your intentions, which is really you're setting your mind to what you want to do ahead of time. And then it's here at this level, then you plan it into action. So you have your checklist here, and that's for every single month. So that is your prep pages. So I would say that is like phase 1 of setting up your planner, is going through this, but that is going to be the heaviest lift, the heaviest mental load for you. So maybe you want to get started on kind of phase 2, but in this example, we're going through phase 1 and then into phase 2. So phase 2 is where you can bring in some color, maybe use your pencil to mark things in, but you get out your Perpetual Calendar. You can find this on sproutedplanner.com as well under free printables. This is a really old one, but I have my Perpetual Calendar here. So it's just by month, a list of people's anniversaries and birthdays. So here you go through You mark down everything on your perpetual calendar. So this is where it's fun. If you have the Sprouted Planner sticker book, this is where it's fun to get into these icon stickers. So for everyone's birthday, you can choose pending. There, little birthday sticker. And then it completely depends where you put your birthdays, but you can put it right here. So you go through here and write in everything from your perpetual calendar, and I just keep that in the front of that folder. Year after year, it just kind of moves over with me. So then you can go in, if you already have written down your appointments that you have set up, you can go in and write those down. Would be a great spot for a sticker. And then you can go through and list all of that. This is also a great time if you have kids in school or extracurriculars. You can pull out that calendar, go through and write everything in here as well. So this is just the stuff you're gonna write in, all the stuff you already know for the year. If you are a highlighting fan, this is where I would think you would highlight things. So for me, I highlight all my kids' stuff. So by school event and then by extracurricular, and there's a different color if they have an appointment as well. So you can go through and set your color scheme. Maybe you already set it up here or back here when you were doing things, but you can go through and use that to highlight what you have written down, and then, but just get things in your calendar for what isn't really gonna change. If there's some things that are gonna change or kind of loosely, you can use your pencil and write them in. But really, unless there's more that you wanna do, there's not a whole lot that you're gonna do here until you get into it. So really it's the prep pages and then the setting up the dates that you already know ahead of time in here. And then as you're going along, if you have more things you wanna do and set up, there is a whole, depending on what planner you're in. So for the weekly planner, there's a whole bunch of pages in the back that if you want to start setting up additional logs, reading logs, movie logs, podcasts you want to watch, things you want to watch or have watched, whatever it is, you can get those kind of pre-set up in the back here. So as you get done, then I would say move over, the ceremonious move over of things. So I have a little mini notebook that I put in here. My kids do a little art project at school that then they want us to buy stuff in which their art project goes on. I have my summer reflection from this summer. So as I'm planning my summer ahead, that I can look back on this, kind of what worked, what didn't, what I wanted to do different. I already have that memory here. And then if you have any sticker pages or notes, or kind of go-to stickers, you can put it in there as well. I've had wedding invitations go in my pocket. I've had things that I just didn't want to lose, but that were coming up. I put it in there, maybe tickets, whatever have you. But for sure, it's always my perpetual planner, my reflection of the summer, usually my mini notebook, and some other miscellaneous things that go into my pocket. Then you are all set up. And once you are all done, what I like to do, and you totally don't have to do this, is say a prayer or say an affirmation over your year ahead. Get your hands on your planner and just take a quiet moment and say a little prayer. So in the notes below, I will put a little prayer that you could do, a little affirmation if praying isn't your thing. It just really helps end your planning session and really gets your kind of heart and head in the right space. Okay, how'd that feel? Do you feel good? Probably tired. It's like therapy session. Like you kind of need some downtime after this. Have your planner ready, your thoughts all are on paper, and you are set up for the new year. I would also love to hear, what was your favorite part of doing this? Was there a specific prep page do you love to do? Was it actually filling out the calendar? Was it adding some decorations and highlights if that's what you did? Let me know what your favorite part of it was. If you chose Sprouted Planner to be your planner for 2024, I am so grateful. So grateful. I know there's so many planners out there and it's such a big decision, of which one to choose. So if you chose a Sparta planner, thank you so very much. And my hope and prayer for you is that it makes your year ahead the most intentional year yet. We don't know what's coming up this year. There's such a big part of it that we can't control, but what we can control is what our intentions are. So what we are going to do with the time we have. So I hope that whatever this year brings to you, that your planner helps you identify what's the most important and really allows you to put your mind and your time to that. Thank you guys. I love you all so much. I really honestly do. I have no idea who's watching, but I just appreciate you. Cheers to an intentional year ahead, and cheers to 2024. Because let's just have fun together. Ugh. And hi, Bonnie. Click like and subscribe.